It's amazing. You know, we've got 10
that erupted into the wars in the farthest parts of the world and threatened the destruction of humankind. But the Berlin Wall was not just a curious icon of a man-made conflict. It had real and enormous human consequences. The wall separated colleagues, friends, and families. It gripped fears, led to the loss of dreams, and to the loss of lives. It was also 20 years ago when we could watch only from here along the Pacific Ocean how events across the Atlantic were transforming the world. There, on November 9th, 1989, the Berlin Wall collapsed under the weight of hundreds of thousands of East Germans who took to the streets in peaceful protest, changing their lives and ours. Tonight, we commemorate not just a jubilant historic event, but the long and often difficult process that began 20 years ago, a process that presented new challenges to those from both East and West who struggled to make sense of their post-Cold War life. Now, 20 years ago, here in Los Angeles, our wall materializes. Our wall does not look like the Berlin Wall. It does not have the same purpose as the Berlin Wall. And thankfully for all of us, that wall will never be built again. But we all have walls in our lives, walls in our minds, walls along our streets. And for tonight, we have a wall across our street. So you're now standing on Wilshire Boulevard, one of the most important avenues in the entire United States, coming face to face with our LA Wall. This 80-foot barricade behind me is painted by professional artists, street graffiti artists, and the public. It is a canvas representing a range of opinions, techniques, approaches, and perspectives and concerns that reflect the diversity of discourse in Berlin and indeed throughout the entire world, all influenced by the fall of a wall. So join us as we tear down our wall in our lives and reflect upon those historic events that occurred across the ocean 20 years ago. Thank you very much.
Our MC tonight, we're here. Let's have a big hand for the Los Angeles County Museum of Art and Chris Burton's Urban Lights, one of the nicest exhibits here. And this great building, which has a match in San Francisco, this wonderful building here at 5900 Wayne Rakovich, give them a hand too as well. It's Sunday night and you all have little excuses for school tomorrow to be tardy, because we're here for a special event. And for those of you who are not of age at the time this happened, it was like an earthquake that went through the world. Starting in the Czech Republic, is that right, Frank? Hungary, across Eastern Europe, and into Berlin on that date in November in 1989. Freedom is a very special thing, and it was so exciting to see that. I was in Berlin the summer of '89, and my friends told me this would never happen. It would never go down. But then I called them that morning and woke them up and told them, turn on CNN, because something big was really happening. I thank you for being here tonight. I thank my colleagues on the City Council and the Board of Public Works for closing the street. Let's give the LAPD a big hand for helping us right tonight, which is very good. And our fire department, everybody. And this is what a city's all about. It's getting together on our big street, Wilshire Boulevard, is closing it and letting the artists show us something which is really about the expression. You know, there never was any art on the east side of the wall. It was always in the west. And that's so important to know. And I do to the young people to learn about history, to learn all about the history is so important, because with history we could be stronger tomorrow. Dankeschön, Auf Wiedersehen, and have a good night, and back to...
I stand in front of you humble and proud. Humble because we Germans owe you Americans a great deal of gratitude. Proud because so many of Angelinos came here tonight to celebrate with us. You are part of a global party. This is just a little bit of a party which goes around the world in these hours. So thank you very much for coming. Los Angeles, of course, as you heard, is sister city of Berlin. And the sister city relationship works well because of your councilman, Tom LaBonge. Give him a hand. I would like to be brief and simply share with you one element, not about the past, but about the future. Our Chancellor Angela Merkel, or this week in the Congress in Washington, and I quote what she said at the end of her speech. She said, "I'm convinced that just as we found the strength in the 20th century to tear down a wall made of barbed wire and concrete, today we have the strength to overcome the walls of the 21st century, walls in our minds, walls of short-sighted self-interest, walls between the present and the future." Thank you very much for joining us.